Hello everyone, welcome to episode 7 of Rob Loves Stuff with Andrea.
Hi there.
Today we're going to be talking about a board game that we both love very much. It's one of the board games that got us into the hobby, and that is the Betrayal at House on the Hill series, which is what you see in front of you.
Yeah.
So we'll move these a little bit. So there are currently 3 games to the series, the original, the OG, being Betrayal at House on the Hill. This game was originally released in 2004. This second edition here was released in 2010. This is one of my favorite board games. We started playing it, I don't know, a decade ago?
Yeah. Yeah, about 10 years ago.
What makes Betrayal really, really awesome is that it has 2 phases. It has a phase where you are working cooperatively with all your friends, everybody you're playing the game with, and then midway through, somebody becomes the traitor. Generally, it's one of the other players, or
yeah, they have different scenarios.
Yes.
So it depends on the scenario that you're in, but oftentimes there's a betrayer. Sometimes there's a creature or the house is possessed or something. There's some really cool scenarios in this, and it's nice. They have like 50 that come within the game.
It's basically an RPG, a light version of a board game RPG. It is extremely accessible, very simple rules, and it can be story driven, which is really great. It makes for great replayability. So this version, the original version, really great, simple game. It takes about an hour to play, and I think this one plays up to 5 people. I'll make sure here.
It's 5.
Yeah, no, sorry, 3 to 6 players.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
So really great way to get a bunch of your friends together and play about an hour-long game. It does not overstay its welcome, and it is very unlikely you'll get the same scenario, you know, in 2 or 3 or 10 play sessions. This is Betrayal at Baldur's Gate, and this is their Dungeons & Dragons tie-in game. It is also really, really fun. It's very similar to the standard Betrayal. It's just themed with Dungeons & Dragons. It does have some varying rules, but for the most part, if you know how to play this game, you can play that game.
Yeah.
And it just introduces brand new scenarios, which is really great for people that have been playing the original as long as we have.
Yeah, but it's fun because then you could be like a mage or a sorcerer or something. So it just kind of spices it up a little.
Absolutely. And then finally, this game came out just last year in 2018. This is Betrayal Legacy. Legacy games have become kind of a big deal in the board gaming world the last few years. It's basically a concept where you play through several different game sessions as part of one large campaign. So if you're a tabletop gamer in the classical sense, RPGs like Dungeons & Dragons, pen and paper tabletop gamer, then you're very familiar with that. You play many gaming sessions across one long story arc. And that's what these kinds of legacy games try to introduce. So when you play this game, you typically play with the same group of people every time.
Yeah.
The game evolves as you play it. You build on every previous game. It fundamentally changes the rules. It can change the board.
Yeah.
It can change the cards. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And what's cool about it is you're playing different generations of people. It's supposed to happen over a span of a few hundred years.
Yeah,
so that's pretty rad.
That's what this one is like. There are games like Risk Legacy. I think that's probably the first one that was really big. And then obviously Pandemic Legacy. I think they're about to release season 3 already. Really, really fun excuse to get together with the same group of people and kind of play over this really long story rather than, you know, the more bite-sized and in-the-moment experience that a standard board game provides. The nice thing about this legacy game, as opposed to others that we've played in the past, is that at the end of your campaign, you don't have to throw this away. Pandemic is very much like that. You've destroyed so many cards and you've changed the board in such fundamental ways that it's basically, you know, throwaway. You can't continue to play it. This game is tailor-made to your experience. You know? So that's really great just from a sustainability standpoint, obviously, but also that these games tend to be investments. They cost anywhere from $50 to $80, and it's nice not to have to throw it away when you're done with the main story. To be honest, we haven't finished it yet. I think we're 2 or 3 games in.
I think we're only 2 games in, but they've been so fun.
They've been so fun, and it takes everything that was created with the original games and just kind of builds upon it. Basically, playing the first session of the Legacy game is a base game of Betrayal, but who knows what this will be when we get to, you know, the 8th or 10th play session.
Maybe we'll do a follow-up.
Yes,
when
in
we're
fact,
done
we will
campaign.
definitely do a follow-up. It's going to take us forever. Do you know how hard it is to get 5 adults in the same room to play a board game? You know, it's difficult. So it's probably going to take us a year. I think Pandemic Legacy took us a year.
Yeah, it took us some time.
Yeah, so, and that's okay. You know, it's meant to be enjoyed over a long period of time. Or if you want to play 4 sessions in a row, go for it. Each game generally is an hour to an hour and a half. That's what they recommend. It can be longer if you want to take it slower, have an adult beverage while you play. Really, really fun experience. You get a lot of bang for your buck with a game like this. Highly recommended. I think I picked this up for $50. Super worth it. So that's Betrayal at House on the Hill. This series is really great. If you want to dip your toe in, the original game is probably the way to go.
Yeah.
This is a huge gateway game for many people. This is the first experience a lot of, especially tabletop and RPG players, have into the world of just standalone board games. And it takes concepts that they're already familiar with and kind of makes it bite-sized. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's a big gateway game. A lot of people in the board game community love this game. Some may call it too simple. It really depends. Some people want to play heavy Euros all the time, you know, 4 or 5 hour games that take basically an entire study session to learn the rules before you even touch the game for the first time. This is not that game. You can read the instructions and play a game in a couple of hours for the first time. Highly recommend Betrayal at House on the Hill.
No.
Check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's awesome. You will not regret it.
Great. Well, thanks once again for joining us for this episode. This was episode 7. We have more fun episodes coming. More board games for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
More board games for sure.
So much fun.
Yeah. Have a good one. Thank you.
Okay.